Welcome back to Medora Minutes, a Bible study designed to help you start your week with the Lord and in His Word. This week we'll be looking at Genesis 37, verses 12 to 28. I've given it the title, When Things Go Wrong, Is God Still There? Joseph never saw it coming. As far as he was concerned, he was on a short trip to go visit his brothers, see how they were doing, and then he was going right home. His brothers saw it differently. They hated him anyway, and they thought that he was coming to spy on them and report any bad things back to the father. They decided to kill him. Only Reuben kept the killing from happening. He intended to release him later, but then they sold him into slavery in Egypt. In a very short space of time, everything that Joseph saw as good in his life was taken away. His hope for the future, the love of his family, his comfortable, preferred lifestyle, all of the respect that he had from all of his neighbors, all gone, and he would have thought forever. His life from now on would be, at the very best, very hard. I can imagine Joseph standing there, or perhaps seated in the sand, as they put the chains on his hand or perhaps on his feet. I can imagine him wondering where God was. That's something that often when bad things happen in our lives, we ask the same question, where is God? And yet if we take a look at Joseph's life and how things progressed over a span of years, we can see that God was definitely right there in the sand with Joseph. First of all, his life was spared. Secondly, this was the only way that Joseph would get to Egypt, where God had some very special things planned for him. In the midst of your darkest days, trust that God is there. It may take a long time for you to see how things work out, but God is there. Second point is that Joseph had to give up some very good things in his life. He had to give up, as we said, all hope of his future. He had to give up the comforts of his life, the love of his father and mother. All of these wiped away. But why was that? It was so that God could give him something even better. And when God gives something back, it's always better. It's always in ways that we would never have dreamed. But it sometimes takes years. So why does God allow bad things? Well, there are many reasons, and I can't cover them all here. I wouldn't even begin. Often when Christians find that a friend is in trouble or despairing, they'll quote Romans 8:28. It's a good Bible verse. We know that all things work together for good. The problem is that they stop there. There are two qualifiers on that. All things work together for good to those who love God. So my first question would be, if you're in your difficult times right now, have you given your life to Christ? Are you on, shall we say, the Lord's side? Can He give you His best blessings? If you're not following Christ, this is the time to do it. Secondly, we know that all things work together for good to those who love the Lord and are following according, or are called according to His purpose. Are you following the Lord? Are you, to the best of your ability, following His way? Are you in His will to the best of your ability? If you are, then the first part of that verse works. All things will work together for good. It may take a long time. It may take you through some very deep waters, as it did for Joseph. Slavery was horrible. But God was there. in the deepest, darkest times of his life. Trust him. God is faithful, and he will work this together for your good and for his glory. Meditate on this coming week. God willing, I'll look forward to talking with you next week. Thanks for listening.